Okay, hello. Okay, so I'm creating this video to help you solve some of the questions about shaded area. So I'm not going to explain each and every one of them, but solving a few which more or less have a similar concept might help you to work on it better. Okay, so the first question that I'm going to choose is question 1. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, question 1. Red. I want to choose red pen. Okay, so for question 1, you can see that you have to solve the area of the shaded part, which is basically the rectangle area minus the square area. Or if the shape is different but more or less the same idea, so we always stick with this strategy. It's always the big shape minus the small one. So in this case, it's, I put brackets, 20 times 8 minus, square has 4 equal sides, so it's 4 times 4. And this will give us 144. And then if we look at the instruction, they said all measurements are in cm. That means, as for the unit, we have to provide cm squared. Done. Okay, so that's how we solve question 1. And if you see clearly, question 1 and question 1a and question 1c, they're quite similar, so I'm not going to explain that. I'm going to go straight to question b. Okay, now if I want you to see the difference between question A and question B, I want you to know that in question A, the shaded area is something that is from the larger shape compared to the small one that is taken away from it. But for question B, the shaded area is specifically the small shape only. So we don't have to do all this minus thingy. We just have to go straight and identify what shape is this one. This is what we call as a it's a trapezium. Yay. Oh, my handwriting. So for trapezium, the formula is half multiplied by a plus b and multiplied by perpendicular height. So you also must know where is all these a, b, and h. So a and b are the two parallel lines from your trapezium. This is a and this is b. And height, it has to be the perpendicular height. Okay, so it's this one. Okay, so now this is very straightforward. So it's half times 40 plus 30 multiplied by 10. So the answer is 350 cm squared. Done. Okay, now, so for the first section of my explanation, we've already covered question 1a and 1b. And if we look at the remaining 3 questions after, D, E, and F, these questions are quite straightforward. It also uses the same idea as the first 2 that I discussed. So I'll move on straight away to question 2. And for question 2, I'm interested to explain question 2b. So let's get to it. Okay, question 2b. The whole idea here is you have to find the shaded area, and the shaded area is this part, and this one. Okay, so as we can see, that means we need to have the area of the the square, and you have to minus this with the area of the circle. All right, so let's get to it. This is simple actually, because the square is just 12 times 12, which is 144. And then the circle, it's it's pi r squared, and this is where we have to be careful, because if you look here, you have 12, right, from one end to the other, and if you were to apply the same length here, that means your 12 is the diameter, okay? And because you want to use r is always half, that means if 12 is the diameter, 6 is the radius. So in this case, it's pi times 6 squared, which is 113.1. And then we find the final step, which one we've planned the first and foremost before. So it's 144 minus 113.1, and this will give us 30.9 cm squared. Done. Okay. The last question that I want to explain is question 2C. Okay. I'll choose blue. Okay, for 2C, you know that it's not a complete circle, because if you were to extend the circle we have here, you see, this part is missing. Ooh. Okay, so now we have to first see this shape as two separate parts. Part 1 is the sector. This one. Oh my god, look at my beautiful drawing. This is part 1. Okay, so I'm going to label it we call it part A, okay? And part B is the triangle. So now, what we have to do is, we have to first find the area of each part, and at the end of it, we just add them all up. So for part A, look, because the triangle already occupied 90 degrees, that means the angle of the sector from part A is 270. So the working for part A would be, I'll just write here first, part A equals to 270 out of 360, because it's not a complete circle, right? It's just a portion of it. So 270 times 360, and then we apply the formula for the area, which is pi times r squared. That's it. This is your part A. And part A will give you 150.8, correct to one decimal place. Now, for part B is just a right angle triangle. So it's half times base times height. And this will give us 32. So at the end of it, you just have to plus both parts. So A plus B equals to 150.8 plus 32. And this will give you 182.8 cm squared. Okay. So that's how we solve those questions. Answers will be provided on Google Classroom, so I just want you to check, but also to provide working so as to justify your thinking process and the steps that you've decided to take to solve each questions. Okay, we're done. Bye-bye.